While some people leave social gatherings feeling energized, talkative, and excited, there's another group that walks away feeling completely drained. Not sad, not angry, just mentally exhausted, as if all their energy has quietly disappeared. And according to psychology, this isn't antisocial behavior. It isn't shyness, and it definitely isn't rudeness. It's a difference in how certain brains process social interaction. Stay with me, because understanding this will change how you see yourself and the people who suddenly go quiet after being around others. Let's start with the obvious question. Why does socializing feel tiring for some people and refreshing for others? Social interaction is not just talking. Your brain is constantly working in the background. It's reading facial expressions, interpreting tone of voice, predicting responses, choosing words carefully, and monitoring how you are being perceived. This is called social cognitive load, and for some people, this load is much heavier than they realize. During a conversation, your mind is multitasking at high speed. You are listening, thinking, responding, analyzing, and adjusting all at the same time. Most people do this automatically without noticing. But for others, every part of this process happens consciously. They don't just talk, they think about how they talk. They don't just listen, they analyze what they hear. This constant mental processing uses a surprising amount of energy, even if the interaction feels friendly and pleasant. There is also something called environmental stimulation. Social settings are rarely quiet. There are voices, movements, lights, background sounds, and shifting attention. Your brain is filtering all of this while trying to stay engaged in conversation. For people who are more sensitive to stimulation, this becomes overwhelming over time. Not instantly, but slowly, like a battery that drains without you noticing until it suddenly hits zero. This is why people who feel drained after socializing often don't realize it during the event. They might laugh, talk, and seem completely normal, but once they leave and return to silence, the exhaustion appears. Their mind finally stops processing, and the weight of that mental effort becomes noticeable. They don't need sleep, they need quiet. Psychologists often connect this to introversion, but it's deeper than personality labels. It's about how your brain recharges. Some people regain energy from interaction, others regain energy from solitude. Socializing for them is like running in the background. It consumes mental fuel, even if they enjoy it. Another important factor is emotional awareness. People who feel drained after socializing are often highly aware of emotional shifts in others. They pick up on subtle changes in mood, tone, and body language. Even when nobody else notices tension, they feel it, and without realizing, they adjust themselves to match the atmosphere. They become more polite, more attentive, more careful. This constant emotional adjustment is exhausting. Imagine holding a polite version of yourself for hours, monitoring what you say, making sure you don't interrupt, making sure everyone feels comfortable. This is invisible work, but your brain treats it like effort. By the time the interaction ends, you've been performing social awareness for a long time. There's also decision fatigue. During social interaction, you make hundreds of tiny decisions: when to speak, what to say, how to react, when to smile, when to nod. Your brain never fully relaxes, and unlike physical tiredness, this kind of fatigue doesn't feel obvious until the moment you're alone. That's why people who feel drained after socializing often crave silence afterward, not because they dislike people, but because their brain finally wants to stop making decisions. Interestingly, many of these people enjoy deep conversations. They prefer one-on-one talks over group settings, because fewer people means fewer signals to process, fewer emotions to monitor, less mental multitasking. The quality of interaction matters more than the quantity. Here's something most people misunderstand. Feeling drained after socializing doesn't mean you don't like the people you were with. In fact, you might have enjoyed the time, but enjoyment and energy are two different things. You can like something that still consumes your mental resources. Your brain simply processes social interaction as a task rather than a break. Over time, this creates a pattern. You start needing recovery time after gatherings. You may cancel plans not because you don't care, but because you haven't mentally recharged yet. Others might see this as disinterest, but for you it's maintenance. Psychologists call this social energy regulation. Your brain carefully balances how much interaction it can handle before needing solitude again. So what does this mean? If you feel drained after socializing, you're not antisocial. You're not shy. You're not strange. Your brain is simply working harder during interaction than most people realize, and that effort requires recovery. The next time you feel exhausted after being around others, don't feel guilty. Your mind isn't rejecting people, it's asking for quiet so it can reset, because the same brain that feels tired after socializing is the one that notices details, understands emotions deeply, and connects with people in a thoughtful way.